Alright, what's going on, guys? So, this is going to be my official review for WWE 2K17. Now, for those of you who don't know, I live streamed almost 7 hours worth of this game. So, some of you know exactly how I feel. Now, I did that live stream a couple weeks ago when the game first came out. And I haven't really spoke upon the game since then, other than pointing out some few glitches. Which, by the way, the 1.03 update still did not fix that title glitch. So Alexa Bliss still comes out with the NXT Women's Championship, and Samoa Joe still comes out with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So 2K, you screwed up again. So anyway. Now, in terms of the rest of the game that I didn't talk about during the live stream, now as you can see that's my character. Once again, the character creation is pretty good in this game. One thing I did notice that there's not nearly as many tattoos in the game. The only thing you can do is you can make designs or pick the designs that are like meant for like clothing and use that as your tattoo. But in the older wrestling games, there used to be a lot more, designs that were specifically made for tattoos. And there's only about like 6 or 7 for each like body part. So that's very disappointing. Um, but other than that, the character creation is still very good. I still wish that there was an easier way to import your face. Like I wish I could just like take a picture, upload it, not have to worry about cutting the face or cutting the hair or something like that. I wish it was just easier. I wish I wouldn't have to use Photoshop or anything like that because I don't really know how to use that type of stuff. So hopefully they fix that later on. And then another thing is that this is something that has had a problem with for a while now. I wish when you create a custom entrance like you're seeing right now, I wish that you can have that as your title entrance like you could in the older wrestling games. That's just something that they need to bring back. I don't know why they took it away. I don't think it's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. So hopefully they fix that in the next game. So in terms of the other modes, my career mode it's an improvement, but it's still not as great as the old SmackDown games. Like Here Comes the Pain and Shut Your Mouth. They still need a lot of work to be done. It's still semi boring. I do like the whole Paul Heyman thing, but it's just not enough. And because there's no 2K Showcase mode this year, this game definitely feels lackluster. Despite it having the best roster in any wrestling game, I don't think you can really dispute it. I mean, I'm sure some people will say, well, Hulk Hogan's not in it and Jeff Hardy's not in it, but generally, this is the best roster in any wrestling game, period. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. Now, the gameplay is definitely improved. Well, I wouldn't say improved. It's a little more ironed out. I do feel like I do have some more control over reversing, even though I noticed a stat for each character where the amount of difficulty you have for each reversal is determined by how good the character is when it comes to reversing. I don't like that because it's just stupid. Like I should be able to press the button and then I should be able to press the button and it should work for everyone. Like it shouldn't be easier to reverse with Brock Lesnar and be harder with like Zack Ryder or something like that. It should be the same. It all should come down to skill. That's how it should be. Um, so that's just something that I don't like. I know people might say, well, it makes the game more realistic, and I understand that there's stock, the amount of stock you can reverse, which I turn that off. Like I don't care, even though it does create a reverse effect. Well, reverse fest feel like the old wrestling games. I still prefer that simply because I don't like being handicapped. The game already feels pretty realistic as is with the stamina system. Um, but this brings me to a issue with the game. I just don't like the engine. It's such an old engine. They need to correct it. For example, if I want to pick up a chair, I press the button. The character will stumble around a little bit. It'll walk around the chair and then he'll pick it up instead of him picking it up automatically. Um, Another thing, I don't really like to complain about this, but I heard some people, some of them are wrestling haters, that the game just doesn't look as next gen-y as it should be. I know that this is the third game and for PS4 and Xbox One, but a lot of times this game shows PS3 like graphics. And if you play a game like 2K, I mean, yeah, there are moments where the game shows it's poorly rendered character models too, and I'm talking about in like a story mode. But that game generally looks a lot better. Um, they need to do the engine all over again. I'm tired of this old engine. It's so old, and it's time to move on. I would reverse something, and I know I pressed it, and it wouldn't work. There's a lot of glitches. There's a lot of collision problems. A lot of times when I try to do a corner special or a signature, it just doesn't flow well. Like, I understand back in like WWE 12 they came up with the whole Predator technology thing to eliminate warping, but I still see warping every now and then. Not nowhere near as bad as those old games, but it's still there. And it's terrible, and this is just something that needs to be fixed. I don't like it, but that's just the biggest problem. And until they update the engine, like, I'm not just talking about updating it, they can add the new lighting system like they said they did. They can do all these other tweaks. You need a brand new engine. Like, go to Unreal Engine 4. Why don't you do that? We need a new engine. This engine that they're using is so old. Way back from like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. That's how old the engine is. I know that they use different modifications, but it's still built off of the same old engine and it still shows its age. It's just like with Fallout 4, using that same old engine. It's terrible. If you update the engine, not only will the gameplay look better, the graphics will look better too. And then you'll have way more options when it comes to rendering. These consoles are able to do it. And until they update the engine, we're still going to be getting slightly upgraded games each and every year. Now, I do like the fact that you can go in the crowd again, like in the old wrestling games. And I do like backstage brawls. Especially like when you can like transition. It has that old school feel to it, and I love that. The only issue is that I wish there was just more areas. I'm sure they're gonna add that in 2K18. This is just like like some sort of entry level, but once they perfect it, because they will most likely perfect it at some point. They need to keep it in the game. They shouldn't remove it, and it shouldn't disappear for like almost 9 or 10 games. It shouldn't do that. Once you have it in there, it should stay in the game. Keep backstage brawls, add a parking lot, add some more offices, add a couple more locker rooms, add a boiler room, add a train station. You can go outside, do it just like the old wrestling games. I understand that they don't really do that in real life no more, but they can still put it in the video games. So that's just my biggest issue with the game. My rating is I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Only because the roster is so good. I do like the backstage brawls, especially how you can transition. That looks good. They're progressing, but there's just so many issues. It just doesn't look good like that. Like it didn't look realistic. Like he just stood there for like a good half a second. Soon as he turned around, I should be going in for a spear. So this engine needs to be updated. it needs to be redone. You need a new engine. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep complaining about this every single year. My career mode needs work. I don't really play universe mode. Um, Community creations is great, but that's all I got to say. 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. That's it. See you guys.